The metal pot hits the floor first, then the sound of stew exploding across the kitchen. Everything stops for half a second, like the whole ranch forgets how to breathe. The ranch cook freezes with both hands on the counter, her body folding slightly forward as a sharp pain cuts through her stomach. Her face tightens, pale under the heat of the stove, sweat forming near her hairline. She tries to stand straight, but her knees shake under her faded dress and stained apron. The ranch owner's voice cracks through the silence. "What did you just do?" She doesn't answer. Her lips press together hard, like speaking would break her. "I asked you a question." A ranch hand mutters from the doorway, "She dropped the whole pot." Another voice, "Dinner's ruined." The cook slowly bends down, one hand gripping the wooden counter, the other hovering near her belly under the fabric. A second wave of pain hits her and she breathes through it, silent, controlled, hiding everything. The ranch owner steps closer, boots heavy on the floor. "Look at me when I'm talking." She lifts her eyes, but only for a second. "You think this place runs on charity," he says. Her throat tightens. She swallows hard but stays quiet. Behind him, kitchen workers start whispering. One of the younger girls stares too long at the blood spreading faintly on the edge of the apron. An older maid notices it too. She stops moving entirely. The ranch owner snaps, "Clean it. Now." The cook nods once. No words. She crouches slowly, picking up broken ceramic pieces from the floor. Her fingers tremble as she gathers them, careful not to cut herself. The pain inside her body pulses again, sharper this time. She exhales through her nose, forcing control. A ranch hand leans to another. "She's shaking." "Or she's scared," the other replies. The cook hears it. She doesn't react. The ranch owner watches her like she's become something inconvenient. "You slow down again, you're done here." She stops mid-movement for a second. Just a second. Then continues cleaning. The older maid takes a step forward, then stops herself. Her eyes lock onto the stain on the apron again. Blood. Not stew. She doesn't say it out loud. The cook pulls herself back to her feet, gripping the counter again. Her breath is uneven now. She presses her palm briefly against her stomach, hidden under the fabric. The motion is quick, instinctive, secret. A whisper from the doorway, "Why is she holding herself like that?" Another, "Don't know." The ranch owner notices the pause. His eyes narrow. "What's wrong with you?" The cook answers too fast, too flat. "Nothing." He steps closer. "Nothing doesn't look like that." Silence spreads again. Even the stove sounds louder now, crackling like it's judging her. The older maid finally speaks, careful. "Maybe she's sick." The ranch owner doesn't look at her. "I didn't ask you." The cook tightens her jaw. Another wave of pain forces her to inhale sharply. She turns slightly away, hiding it. The movement is small but enough for the maid to notice again. The ranch owner points toward the mess. "Clean all of it. You're not leaving until it's done." She nods again. "Yes." Still no emotion in her voice. But her hands are shaking harder now. The kitchen slowly starts moving again, but not normally. Everyone watches her while pretending not to. Pots clatter softer. Conversations lower. Eyes follow her like she's something already half gone. The cook kneels again, picking up broken ceramic pieces one by one. Her breathing is controlled but strained. She pauses once, just once, hand pressing lightly against her stomach under the apron where no one can see. The older maid sees it clearly this time. She doesn't move. Doesn't speak. Just watches. The ranch owner turns away like the problem has already been dealt with. Finish it before night. Footsteps fade as he leaves the kitchen. But the silence he leaves behind is worse. The cook remains on her knees, frozen for a second longer than necessary. The pain returns again, deeper now. She closes her eyes briefly, forcing herself to stay steady. The older maid slowly walks closer. "Hey," she says quietly. The cook doesn't look up. The maid lowers her voice further. "Don't hide it wrong." That makes her stop. The cook finally lifts her head slightly. "What did you say?" she whispers. The maid looks around first, then leans in just enough. "You heard me." The cook's breathing tightens. The kitchen keeps moving around them, unaware of what just shifted between two women in the corner of a broken floor, under a ruined pot, inside a place that suddenly feels smaller than before. And the cook realizes something simple, heavy, and terrifying. Someone saw it. And didn't look away. The older maid doesn't move right away. She just stands there, watching the cook kneeling on the kitchen floor, staring at the broken ceramic pieces like they mean nothing compared to what she already sees in the stain on the apron. The kitchen is loud again, but it feels far away now, like everything is happening behind thick glass. The cook slowly gathers the last shard, her fingers trembling just enough to betray her control. "You're shaking," the maid finally says. The cook doesn't look up. "I'm fine." "No," the maid answers quickly. "You're not." A ranch hand passes behind them carrying a tray, glancing once at the corner before walking away. No one stops. No one asks. The cook forces herself to stand. Her breath is uneven, but she hides it by turning her body slightly away. "Just work. That's all." The maid steps closer. "That blood isn't from a cut." The cook freezes for half a second. Then continues moving like she didn't hear it. "Drop it." "I won't," the maid says. Silence hits hard again. The stove crackles. Someone laughs across the room. It sounds wrong now. The cook wipes her hands on her apron too fast, too rough. "You didn't see anything." The maid tilts her head slightly. "I saw enough." The cook finally looks at her. Her eyes are tired now, not just in pain but in warning. "You talk, I'm gone," she whispers. The maid doesn't answer immediately. She studies her face, her posture, the way she keeps one hand slightly too close to her stomach even when she's trying not to. "You don't have anywhere to go," the maid says quietly. That lands heavier than anything else. The cook swallows. "That's none of your business." "It becomes my business when you bleed on my kitchen floor." The cook's jaw tightens. She turns away and starts cleaning the counter, even though nothing is left to clean. It's just something to do with her hands so she doesn't fall apart standing still. The maid watches her closely. Then lowers her voice. "You're with child." The cook stops completely. Not a reaction. Not a movement. Just stillness. The entire kitchen seems to shift around that silence, even if nobody hears it but them. The cook speaks without turning around. "Don't say that. It's true. It's not your truth to say." The maid steps closer, careful now, like approaching something fragile and dangerous. "How long?" The cook finally faces her again. Her eyes are sharp, but there's fear under it now. "Long enough," she says. The maid exhales slowly. "And the owner doesn't know." "No," the cook snaps immediately. "And he won't." A pause. Then the maid says it plainly. "He throws out women for less." That line hits different. The cook doesn't answer right away. Her fingers tighten against the edge of the counter behind her. "I said I can handle it," she finally says. The maid shakes her head slightly. "No one handles that man. They survive him or they don't." A ranch bell rings outside. Workers shift positions. The kitchen keeps moving like nothing important is happening, but everything between them has changed. The cook lowers her voice. "Why are you doing this?" "Because I've seen what happens," the maid answers. The cook laughs once, but there's no humor in it. "So what, you're going to save me?" "I'm telling you the truth." "I don't need truth. I need silence." The maid steps even closer now, almost blocking her path to the rest of the kitchen. Silence gets you buried here, she says. That makes the cook finally go quiet. For a second, neither of them speaks. Only the sound of iron pans, footsteps, distant voices pretending not to listen. The cook looks away first. You tell anyone, I'll deny it. The maid nods slowly. They won't believe you. That hits harder than expected. The cook tightens her grip on the counter again, like it's the only thing keeping her upright. Her breathing is controlled but thin. The maid softens her tone slightly. You need to decide fast. Decide what? Whether you want to survive this place or be consumed by it. The cook doesn't answer. She just stands there, stuck between the sound of her own breathing and the weight of what's already been seen. Behind them, someone calls out for more food. Life continues. But not for her anymore. The kitchen doesn't feel like it has fully recovered from what was said in the pantry. Even though everyone is moving, talking, cooking, the air has changed around the ranch cook. It follows her like a shadow she can't step out of. She stands at the stove stirring slowly, eyes lowered, pretending nothing happened. But her body gives her away in small ways, the slight stiffness in her shoulders, the careful way she breathes, the hand that keeps drifting near her waist before she forces it back to work. Two women at the far table lean close together, whispering without looking directly at her. Something's wrong with her, one says. I saw blood earlier, the other replies. You didn't. I did. The cook hears it anyway. She doesn't react. She keeps stirring. Behind her, the older maid watches from near the shelves. Not whispering. Not judging. Just watching like she is confirming something she already knows. A ranch hand walks through the kitchen, slows for half a second near the cook, then continues on. That half second is enough. Enough for him to notice the way she stands too carefully. Enough for him to start thinking. Outside, a bell rings. Movement shifts through the ranch. More workers gather. More eyes arrive. The cook finally sets the spoon down too hard. Clink. The sound cuts through everything for a moment. She exhales slowly, forcing control back into her face. Then she picks it up again like nothing happened. But now people are definitely watching. At the water barrels outside the kitchen, three women stand close together. Their voices are low, sharp, urgent. You saw her yesterday? She was fine yesterday. No, she wasn't. She looked sick. One of them glances toward the kitchen door, where the cook is visible through the opening, moving slowly inside. She's hiding something, another says. The third shakes her head. Don't start trouble. I'm not starting it, the first replies. It's already started. Inside, the cook steps away from the stove to carry a tray. Her hands are steady only because she is forcing them to be. Each step feels heavier now, like the floor is resisting her. A ranch boy passes her in the hallway, pauses, looks up at her stomach without understanding, then quickly looks away. The cook notices. Everyone notices now. She keeps walking. Back in the kitchen, a ranch hand leans toward another. You hear the rumor? What rumor? She's carrying. The other man snorts. Carrying what? Don't act stupid. That line spreads faster than anything else in the room. The cook returns to the counter and sets the tray down. She doesn't ask questions. She doesn't react. But her jaw tightens slightly as she hears fragments of her life being rearranged by people who don't even know the truth. The older maid moves closer again, quietly. You're not invisible anymore, she says softly. The cook doesn't look at her. I never was. That's not what I mean. A pause. The cook finally turns her head slightly. Then don't say anything. I already said too much by existing near you, the maid replies. That lands heavier than intended. The cook exhales through her nose, controlled but strained. I can handle noise. The maid steps closer. Noise turns into decisions. Decisions turn into actions. The cook finally looks at her fully now. "What do you want from me?" "Truth," the maid says. The cook almost laughs again, but stops herself. "Truth doesn't feed me. It doesn't keep me here." "It might keep you alive," the maid answers. Silence stretches between them. In the background, a pan drops somewhere in the kitchen. No one reacts anymore. Small sounds are becoming normal. The cook lowers her voice. "If the owner hears any of this..." "He will," the maid cuts in. That silence after is different. Heavier. The cook stares at her. "Then why are you still talking?" "Because I've seen what happens when nobody does." A ranch hand passes behind them, slowing just enough to catch part of the conversation. His eyes flick between them, then he moves on quickly, already carrying it elsewhere. The cook notices that too. "It's spreading," she whispers. "Yes," the maid says. The cook's hands tighten against the edge of the counter. "I didn't ask for that." "No one does," the maid replies. Outside, the ranch yard is filling with movement. People are gathering in clusters now. Not working. Watching. Waiting. Something is forming without being named yet. Inside, the cook closes her eyes briefly. Just for a moment. Then opens them again. "I need this job," she says quietly. The maid nods once. "Then you need control." "I have control." The maid looks at her directly. "No. You have survival." That word sits between them longer than anything else. The cook finally turns away, back to work, as if ending the conversation by force. But her shoulders stay tense, and her movements are slower now, more aware, like every action might be seen twice. Behind her, the maid doesn't leave. And the kitchen, once just a place of work, has become something else entirely. A place where everyone is watching a secret they haven't named yet, but already believe is real. The ranch cook doesn't step onto the porch willingly. She's called out like an animal being tested. The morning air is sharp, dry, already carrying tension before she even appears. When she finally walks out, the entire yard seems to slow down around her. Workers stop mid-task. Conversations die halfway through words. Even the wind feels quieter. The ranch owner is already there. Standing on the porch. Waiting. He doesn't speak immediately. Just looks at her. "You come here," he says finally. She stops at the bottom step. Doesn't move closer. "I'm working," she replies. That wasn't a request. A few ranch hands gather behind him. Not fully close. Not fully away. Just close enough to watch everything. The cook keeps her posture straight, but her hand drifts near her stomach for a second before she forces it down again. The ranch owner notices. His eyes narrow. "What's wrong with you lately?" "Nothing." That's not an answer. Silence spreads through the yard like dust settling. A woman in the background whispers, "She's shaking again." Another replies, "She always looks like that now." The cook hears it all, but her face stays still. The ranch owner steps down one step. Then another. Now he's closer. "You been sick?" he asks. "No. Lying gets you nothing here." She finally looks up at him directly. "I said no." That moment feels heavier than the words. Behind them, a horse shifts in the barn. A bucket falls somewhere far off. Nobody reacts to those sounds anymore. The only sound that matters is between them. The ranch owner tilts his head slightly. "People are talking," he says. "I don't care," she replies too fast. That small crack in her voice is enough. The ranch owner hears it. So do others. A ranch hand leans toward another. "Something's off with her." "She's hiding it," the other answers. The cook stands still, but inside she is calculating every breath. The ranch owner steps closer again. "About what?" he asks. She doesn't answer. That silence becomes the answer. His face changes slightly now. Not anger yet. Something worse. Suspicion settling in fully. You better speak, he says lower. She holds his gaze. No. A beat. The yard feels frozen. Then he laughs once, sharp and short. You think you can act like that on my land? I'm working, she repeats. That's all I'm doing. He points slightly toward her. You're making people uncomfortable. She almost laughs at that, but doesn't. People are always uncomfortable with something. The ranch owner steps right in front of her now. Close enough that she has to tilt her head slightly to keep eye contact. Rumors don't start by themselves, he says. Her heart drops slightly, but she doesn't show it. What rumors? That hesitation gives her away for half a second too long. His eyes lock onto her face. You know what I'm talking about, he says. The silence after is sharp. From behind him, a worker whispers, It's true then. Another voice, I heard it too. The cook's breathing becomes tighter, but controlled. The ranch owner studies her like he is measuring damage. Is it mine to fix? He asks. Her expression hardens immediately. No. That answer lands harder than expected. Even he pauses for a second. Behind them, the older maid appears at the edge of the porch steps, watching. Not interfering. Just watching like she already knew this moment would come. The ranch owner turns slightly. You been talking? He asks her. The maid answers calmly. No. But her eyes shift briefly toward the cook. That is enough. The ranch owner understands more from that than words. He turns back to the cook. Get off my porch, he says. She doesn't move immediately. That hesitation creates a ripple in the yard. Workers start whispering louder now. She's not leaving. She's not supposed to stay either. The cook finally steps back one pace. Then another. But she doesn't fully turn away. Her voice comes out low. I didn't do anything wrong. The ranch owner responds instantly. You exist here. That's enough. That hits harder than anything before it. The cook's jaw tightens. Her eyes flicker for the first time, not fear exactly, but something breaking under pressure. She turns slightly, like she is going to leave. Then stops. One more second. One more breath. The ranch owner watches her carefully now. Go, he says again. She finally turns fully. Walks down the steps slowly. But as she moves, she feels it. Everyone is watching her differently now. Not as a worker. Not as invisible. As something exposed. Behind her, the ranch owner doesn't follow. But his silence says more than his voice did. And in the yard, nothing goes back to normal after that moment. The cook doesn't stop walking until she reaches the stable. Not because she wants to. Because she has nowhere else where the air feels less heavy. Inside, the smell of hay and old leather hits her first. It's quieter here, but not safe. Just quieter in a different way. A way where thoughts become louder. She leans against a wooden post the moment she steps in. Her hand goes to her stomach immediately, like it's a reflex she can't control anymore. Her breathing is uneven. Controlled. Barely. A horse shifts in the far corner. Chains softly clink. She closes her eyes. Not now, she whispers to herself. Footsteps outside. She freezes. Then she hears a voice. You're hiding in here now? She opens her eyes fast. A cowboy stands at the stable entrance. Half in shadow, half in morning light. Dust on his boots. Hat low. Not aggressive. Not friendly either. Just present. She straightens instantly. This isn't your space, she says. He looks around once. Doesn't look like anyone owns peace around here. Silence. She doesn't trust him yet. Her body says it clearly. One hand still on her stomach. Protective. Defensive. He notices. Doesn't comment. Instead, he steps inside slowly, careful not to scare her. "You hurt?" he asks. "I'm fine." He nods once like he expected that answer. "You don't look fine." She exhales sharply. People keep saying that. Because it's true. That lands between them. The stable feels smaller now. Even with space around them, tension fills it. She looks away first. "What do you want?" He pauses. "Nothing," he says. That makes her almost laugh. Men don't show up in places like this for nothing. He leans lightly against a beam, keeping distance. "I'm not here for you," he says. That should make her relax. It doesn't. She watches him carefully. Then leave. He doesn't move. Instead, he says quietly, "I've seen the way that ranch runs." That changes her expression slightly. She studies him harder now. "What about it?" she asks. He shrugs once. People don't last there long if they get noticed. Her grip tightens on the post. "I didn't ask for attention," she says. "You got it anyway." A pause. A horse snorts behind them. Dust moves in the sunlight, cutting through cracks in the wood walls. She finally turns more toward him. "Why are you really here?" she asks again, slower this time. He meets her eyes now. "I heard what's happening," he says. Her jaw tightens. "There's nothing happening." He nods slightly. "That's what everyone says before it gets worse." Silence again. This one heavier. She shifts her weight, pain flickering through her body again, quick but noticeable. She hides it poorly this time. His eyes catch it instantly. "You need to sit," he says. "I don't take orders." "I didn't give one." That shuts her up for a second. She slowly lowers herself onto a stack of hay bales, still guarded, still tense. He stays standing. A distance between them like a rule neither of them broke yet. "You live here?" she asks him finally. "Near." That's not an answer. He gives a faint, tired look. "It is for me." She watches him for a moment. "You're one of them?" she asks. "No." That answer is immediate. Too immediate. She notices that. "You don't sound like them," she says. "That's because I stopped trying to." Another pause. The stable creaks softly. She looks down at her hands. Dirt under her nails. Trembling slightly now that she's still. "I don't need help," she says, quieter. He nods slowly. "Didn't say you did." That confuses her more than anything else. She looks up again. "Then why are you still here?" He finally steps a little closer. Not enough to threaten. Just enough to be heard clearly. "Because I know what happens when a place decides a woman doesn't belong," he says. That line hits differently. Her expression tightens. "I belong," she says quickly. He doesn't argue. Instead, he says, "That's not how they see it." Silence again. Longer this time. She presses her hand briefly against her stomach without thinking. He notices again. But still doesn't speak about it. Finally, she asks, "What do you want from me?" He looks at her for a long moment. Then answers simply. "Nothing." She shakes her head slightly. No one says that twice. He almost smiles, but doesn't. "Then don't trust me," he says. "That's easy." "Good." Another pause. Then, softer. "But don't stay where they're already deciding your ending." That line lingers in the stable longer than anything else. She doesn't respond. But she doesn't tell him to leave either. And for the first time, the silence between them doesn't feel completely empty. The cook doesn't trust the cowboy. Not yet. But she also doesn't tell him to leave. That is the problem. The stable feels colder now, even with morning light slipping through the wood cracks. The silence between them stretches longer than it should. She sits on the hay bales, shoulders tight, one hand still resting near her stomach without thinking. She notices it and moves it away quickly, like hiding a mistake. The cowboy watches without reacting. You should go back, she says finally. To where? He asks. Anywhere but here. He nods slightly, like he understands but doesn't agree. That place outside, he says. It's not safe anymore. She exhales sharply. Nothing here is safe. That line sits between them for a second. A horse shifts in the back of the stable. Chains softly clink. He steps closer, slow, careful again. You were shaking earlier, he says. I'm fine. You keep saying that. She looks up fast. Because it's true. He doesn't argue. Just watches her like he's waiting for her to stop lying to herself instead of him. A long silence. Then she finally asks, What do you want? He pauses. I told you, he says. Nothing. That's not real. He gives a faint breath through his nose. Almost a laugh, but not quite. You don't trust anyone, do you? He asks. She answers instantly. I trust what I see. And what do you see? A man standing in a stable asking too many questions. That lands. He nods slowly. Fair. Outside, distant shouting echoes from the ranch yard. Faint but growing. The world beyond the stable is still moving, still watching her without being here. The cowboy tilts his head slightly. You hear that? He asks. She listens. Yes. They're talking about you again, he says. She stiffens slightly. I don't care. But her voice is tighter now. He notices. You should, he says quietly. She stands up too quickly, then steadies herself when pain flickers through her again. She hides it fast, but not fast enough. He sees it. Still doesn't comment. Instead he says, You can't keep pretending nothing's wrong. I'm not pretending, she snaps. A beat. Then softer, almost tired, I'm working. That's not the same thing. She turns away from him slightly, looking toward the stable wall like it might give her answers. Why are you still here? She asks again. He doesn't answer right away. Then, because I know that ranch. That pulls her attention back. He continues, slower now. I've seen what happens when someone becomes useful only as long as they stay invisible. Her jaw tightens. I'm not invisible, she says. He looks at her directly. You were, he says. That hits harder than anything else so far. She doesn't respond immediately. Just breathes through it. A long silence. Then she says, I didn't ask for your opinion. I know. Then stop giving it. He nods once. But doesn't leave. Instead he leans lightly against a wooden post again, keeping distance but not retreating. Listen, he says. I'm not listening. You are, he replies calmly. You just don't like it. That makes her look at him again. The stable feels tighter now. Not physically. Emotionally. She lowers her voice. If people see you here, it makes things worse. They already are worse. She shakes her head slightly. You don't understand. He looks at her for a long moment. Then says quietly, I understand more than you think. That confuses her. She studies him now more carefully than before. Not just as a stranger, but as something with weight behind him. What are you? She asks. A pause. Someone who left, he says. That doesn't explain anything. It explains enough. Another silence. The horse exhales behind them. Dust shifts in a thin beam of sunlight. She sits back down slowly, like her body is finally forcing her to stop pretending it's not struggling. He notices immediately. "You need help," he says. "I need nothing." "You're wrong." That word makes her look up sharply. "Don't tell me what I need," she says. He nods. "Fair." But then adds, softer. "Still true." A beat. Her eyes flick down again. Tired now more than angry. The stable goes quiet except for breathing and distant ranch noise. Finally she asks, almost reluctantly, "If I stay here, what happens?" He doesn't answer immediately. Then, "They decide for you." That answer sits heavy in the air. She swallows. For the first time, she doesn't respond right away. And in that pause, something small shifts, not trust, not safety, but the beginning of her realizing she might already be running out of places where silence can protect her. The cook wakes up on the hay without realizing she fell asleep. For a second she doesn't remember where she is. Then pain brings everything back. The stable is dimmer now. Morning has shifted toward harsh light. Dust hangs in the air like it's stuck there. Her body feels heavier than before. She sits up slowly, one hand immediately going to her stomach under the faded apron. Her breath catches. She listens first. No voices. No footsteps. Just the stable. "Still here," she whispers. No answer. The cowboy is gone. She exhales, but it doesn't feel like relief. More like uncertainty settling in. She pushes herself up carefully, holding the wooden beam for balance. Her legs feel weak. She steadies herself anyway. Outside, distant shouting from the ranch yard again. Louder this time. She freezes. Then steps closer to the stable entrance. The light hits her face sharply as she peeks out. People are gathered. Too many. Not working anymore. Watching. She steps back instantly. "No," she whispers. A horse shifts behind her. Chains clink softly. She tries to steady her breathing. "You're fine," she tells herself. It's nothing. But it isn't nothing anymore. Footsteps approach outside. Fast. Multiple. She turns sharply, backing deeper into the stable. The wooden door swings slightly. A ranch hand enters first. Then another. Then the older maid appears behind them. Her face is not surprised. It is resigned. The cook's heart drops slightly. "You shouldn't be here," the cook says quickly. One of the ranch hands smirks. "We're not here for the horses." Silence hits like a wall. The cook stiffens. "What do you want?" The older maid steps forward slightly, but not to protect her. More like she's stuck between sides. "They're talking," the maid says quietly. The cook shakes her head fast. "I don't care what they're talking about." The ranch hand laughs once. Too late for that. Another steps in closer, eyes scanning her body too openly now. "You've been hiding it," he says. The cook goes still. "Don't," she warns. But her voice is weaker now than she wants it to be. The older maid looks away slightly. That tells her everything. The cook whispers, "You told them." The maid doesn't deny it. That silence is the answer. The cook's breath sharpens. "You said you wouldn't," she says. The maid finally meets her eyes. "I didn't say anything. I didn't have to." That line breaks something small inside the cook's control. The ranch hand steps closer. "Owner wants answers," he says. "I don't owe him anything." "You're on his land," another replies. The cook backs up until her shoulders hit the wooden wall of the stable. Trapped. The word forms in her mind before she says it. "No," she whispers. One of them gestures toward her stomach without fully saying it. "You know what this looks like, right?" he says. She shakes her head fast. "You don't know anything." "We know enough," he replies. The stable suddenly feels smaller. Hotter. Her breathing quickens, but she forces it down. "Get out," she says. No one moves. The older maid finally speaks again, softer this time. "They're going to take you to him." That name doesn't need to be spoken clearly. The cook understands. Her jaw tightens. "I'm not going anywhere," she says. A ranch hand laughs again. "That's not your choice." The cook looks toward the door. One exit. Blocked. She looks back at them. Her hand moves instinctively to her stomach again, slower this time. Protective. Defiant. One of them notices. "Yeah," he says quietly. "That's what we thought." The cook's voice drops. "You don't touch me." Silence. Then the ranch hand steps forward. "You don't decide that anymore." The stable goes completely still. Even the horse stops moving. The cook feels her chest tighten, not just fear now but something sharper. Something like anger rising under it. From outside, distant footsteps approach again. More people. Coming closer. She hears it. They all hear it. The older maid whispers, almost to herself, "It's already decided." The cook shakes her head slowly. "No," she says. "Not yet." But her voice is shaking now. The stable door creaks wider. And the light spilling in feels less like morning, and more like exposure. The stable door swings fully open. And everything changes. The cook doesn't run. Not at first. She just stands there, frozen between the wall and the men stepping inside like they already own her next breath. Her hand stays on her stomach, not hiding it anymore. Just holding it. Like that alone can protect what's inside her. The ranch hand from before speaks first. "All right," he says. "Let's stop pretending." The cook's voice comes out sharp. "You don't talk to me like that." He laughs once. "Not anymore, I do." The older maid stands near the doorway, not moving forward, not stepping in. That silence hurts more than words. The cook looks at her. "You brought them." The maid shakes her head slightly. "I didn't stop them." That difference is enough to break something small inside the cook's control. Another ranch hand steps closer, eyes locked on her stomach now. "How far along?" he asks. The cook snaps instantly. "Don't look at me." But they all are. Every eye. Every breath in the stable feels aimed at her. "I said get out," she repeats louder now. No one moves. Instead, another voice comes from outside. "The owner's coming." That name drops like weight through the air. The cook's expression tightens immediately. "No," she whispers. "No, no." Bootsteps grow louder outside. Not rushed. Controlled. Certain. The ranch owner enters slowly. He doesn't look surprised. That's the worst part. He already knew. His eyes move across the stable once. The men. The maid. Then finally her. "So it's true," he says. The cook shakes her head fast. "No." He ignores that. His voice stays calm, almost disappointed. "You really thought you could keep it hidden on my land?" The cook steps forward half a step. "It's not your business." That makes him smile slightly. "Everything on my land is my business." Silence hits hard. The cook's breathing gets tighter, but she forces herself steady. "You don't own my body," she says. That line lands differently. Even the men shift slightly. The ranch owner's face hardens. "No," he says slowly. "But I own the consequences of what you bring into my ranch." The cook's eyes flash. "I didn't bring anything to you." He steps closer. Now there's no space left in the stable that feels safe. "You think this is about you?" he asks. "It's about control. Order. Stability. She shakes her head, voice rising. It's about fear. That's what this is. A ranch hand mutters behind him, she's talking too much. Another replies, she's done anyway. The cook hears it. Still doesn't back down. The ranch owner tilts his head slightly. Here's what's going to happen, he says. The cook's jaw tightens. I'm not going anywhere. He ignores that too. You're coming with us, he continues. We'll settle this properly. The cook takes one step back. Her hand presses harder against her stomach now. No, she says again. The maid finally speaks, quiet but firm. You can't fight all of them. The cook turns her head sharply. Don't. The maid holds her gaze. I'm telling you reality. That word hits harder than anything else today. The cook whispers, almost broken now, you said you'd stay out of it. The maid answers softly. I tried. The ranch owner gestures slightly. Take her, he says. That's the moment everything shifts. Two ranch hands step forward. The cook backs into the wooden wall again. No, she says louder now. Don't touch me. One of them reaches anyway. She jerks away instantly, panic breaking through control. Don't. The stable erupts into movement. Not chaos yet. Controlled force. The cook struggles, but she's outnumbered. Her breathing sharpens, panic rising fast, one arm still trying to protect her stomach while she pushes back with the other. Stop, she shouts. The word echoes through the stable. The maid looks away completely now. That hurts more than the hands grabbing her. The ranch owner doesn't move. He just watches. Like this is already decided. The cook's voice breaks for the first time. I didn't do anything wrong. No one answers. She's pulled forward toward the door. Her feet drag against straw and wood. Light from outside floods in, harsh now, not warm. Exposure. She fights one last time, twisting free for a second. She looks directly at the ranch owner. Her voice shakes but doesn't disappear. You don't get to decide this, she says. He meets her eyes calmly. Yes, he replies. I do. And as she's pulled out into the open yard, the entire ranch finally stops pretending she was invisible. Because now everyone sees her. And no one looks away. The yard is too quiet before she hits the ground. Not silent. Quiet in a way that means everyone is waiting for something to happen. The cook stumbles forward as she's pulled out of the stable, her boots dragging through dust and straw. Her breathing is sharp now, broken between fear and resistance. One hand is still instinctively guarding her stomach, even as another ranch hand grips her arm too tightly. Stop, she shouts again. No one stops. The ranch owner stands ahead of her near the center of the yard, watching like he's waiting for a report to finish. Not a person. A situation. The cook twists hard, trying to pull free. Don't touch me, she screams. A hand tightens on her shoulder. Hold her still, someone says. No, she gasps. Let go, let go. The maid is somewhere behind the crowd now. Not stepping forward. Not stopping it. Just there. That hurts more than anything else. The cook locks eyes with her for half a second. Why? The cook whispers. The maid doesn't answer. The cook turns back toward the ranch owner, breath shaking. I didn't do anything wrong, she says again, louder this time. A ranch hand laughs once. You already did, he says. The cook shakes her head fast. No. No, I didn't. The ranch owner steps forward slowly. Enough, he says. His voice cuts through everything. Even the men holding her shift slightly. The cook freezes, still fighting but now listening. The ranch owner stops a few steps away from her. His eyes move down briefly. He already sees what everyone else is seeing. Then he looks back at her face. This is what you've done, he says calmly. Her breathing gets faster. I didn't choose this, she says. You chose to hide it, he replies. That line lands like judgment already passed. The cook struggles again. I was working, she snaps. That's all I was doing. A ranch hand mutters, she's still lying. Another says, she thinks she can talk her way out. The cook hears everything. Her voice cracks slightly. I'm not lying. The ranch owner tilts his head. You think this is about truth, he asks. She doesn't answer. He continues anyway. This is about order, he says. And you broke it. The cook shakes her head hard. I didn't break anything. The ranch owner steps closer. Now there's no distance left that feels safe. You brought something into my ranch, he says. Her voice rises. It's not yours. That makes the crowd shift. A few men tighten their grip instinctively. The cook notices. Her breathing sharpens. The ranch owner doesn't react to her words. Only studies her like she's a decision. Behind him, someone speaks low. What do we do with her? Another voice answers immediately. She leaves. The cook hears it. Her eyes widen slightly. No, she whispers. No, I'm not leaving. The ranch owner raises one hand slightly. The noise in the yard drops instantly. Silence again. This time controlled. You will not stay here like this, he says. The cook shakes her head fast. I have nowhere else. That is not my problem, he replies. The words are flat. Final. The cook's voice breaks now. I work here, she says. I earned my place. A pause.